Well, boys, Voldemort has returned to the internet. Some of you might remember a while ago, about 2 years or so, history was made with possibly the worst YouTube apology in the history of the site. It was epic. Some of you might remember this woman, Colleen Ballinger. She was accused of grooming and pedophilia and a bunch of other bad shit. And so in response to that, naturally, as any human would respond to an accusation like that, she whipped out her ukulele and started dropping some bars. Now, surprisingly, after that incredible apology, she was completely blacklisted from the internet. I mean, she hasn't made a video on her main channel in probably 2 years now, since the tragedy happened. But today, she's breaking her silence. She's come back on a podcast called Tea Time with Raven and Miranda. And she's breaking her silence, clearing the air, making sure everyone understands what really happened. Now, I'm just gonna go out and say it before we start. The podcasters very clearly did not do any research before they jumped into this episode. I mean, not only did they platform a groomer, which I'm assuming they were relatively aware of, but it becomes very clear that they don't really know about the situation and the extent that it goes. I mean, first off, one of them mentions that she hasn't been online in 2 years since the incident, when she's literally been making videos nonstop on her second channel, where she monitors comments heavily and filters them and everything. But then at another point in the episode, one of the hosts makes like a accusation that they heard, and then the other host corrects them, and then the other host is like, oh my god, I just didn't know. The internet construes everything. So it's really clear that neither of them did any research before filming this episode, and what results is just a beautiful shit piece of disaster. It's awesome.
Well, there is a very big elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And I think that we just have to address it.
Sure. Immediately.
Why Miranda?
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking about that. I was like, how do we address this when I get there?
It's pretty massive.
Hopefully you still have your spleen intact after that comedic joke. Oh my god, that was hilarious. It's because they have the same fucking name. And they're talking about that's the elephant in the room, when in reality, the elephant in the room is how they have a groomer that has sent very inappropriate messages and underwear to children. But we share the same name.
Like, she didn't, Miranda didn't care what anyone said.
When Miranda came to be, it really wasn't, like, that was for an adult audience.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I certainly never thought I'm making a kid show or a kid character or something to entertain children. Like, that was never the goal ever, actually, in my career.
Well, let's think about that for a second, Miranda, or Colleen, if that's your real name. Let's look up Miranda Sings Meeting Fans. Okay, yeah, looks like an adult audience here. We got kids, a parent. This guy obviously enjoys Miranda. Holy fuck. He is the biggest fan. He comes to every show, comments on every video. My god. I could see how she could very well have just an adult audience. That's exactly what her content is meant for. And you know what? Just ignore that 90% of the pictures of her meeting fans is with kids. Ignore that. Another really weird thing both the podcast host and Colleen do throughout this episode is they keep referring to Miranda, which is like her YouTube name and character. They keep referring to Miranda as if it's a completely different person. As if Miranda's a completely different entity from Colleen. As if Colleen could never do something so weird as send messages to minors and do inappropriate shit. It's very strange and almost feels like manipulative. I can't believe I almost said that first try. It feels like manipulative language, almost. It's very weird. And that's not even just a once-off thing throughout this podcast. There's another instance where they refer Colleen. Fuck, she's got too many names. There's another instance where she refers to a literal child as an underaged man. That's not even a joke, man.
When my audience kind of grew, and it went from this older audience to, it spread, and there was now a lot more teens watching me. Mm-hmm. I didn't adjust my comedy very much because I was like, well, they found me doing this, so this is what they like, and this is what I like, so I'm going to keep doing the comedy they like. And I did adjust it a little bit over time. But one thing that I didn't do, and I should have been much more careful about, is I didn't adjust my interactions with my fans. And that's something I regret a lot because, like I said earlier, the difference between me and a mainstream celebrity, at least in the beginning, was that I was attainable and look, she'll talk to us, she'll interact with us, and she's talking to us from her living room, she'll talk about anything. and she's so open, and she'll talk one-on-one with us. She meets us in person at her shows and whatnot, and we know her, you know. And I didn't think about that when I was interacting with my fans, I didn't think about a power dynamic that could have been there. I didn't think about a parasocial relationship, and I should have been more responsible in thinking about that, but I didn't even think of myself that way. I was like, yeah, we are friends. Like, I think I felt the same way. And so for me, I was like, well, I'm just talking to my friends. I talk to all of them like they're my friends, my sisters, all the fans.
I think if you were to have a conversation with a fan and it was a normal conversation, you wouldn't need to worry about something like a power dynamic. That wouldn't even come into the equation because, you know, two people having a conversation is not automatically connected to a power dynamic. Power dynamics come into play when the person in power is using that power to manipulate the person below them. So the fact that she even brings that into the conversation just feels kind of weird. Also, I'm not gonna blow over the fact that as an almost middle-aged woman, she's trying to refer to children as her friends. I can't be the only one that thinks that's kind of weird, man. And again, she's trying to cop herself out by trying to say and push past the idea that her audience was older. It was full of old people, and then these kids just came in and fucking ruined everything. And obviously, I think you and I know as a viewer and myself, that's obviously not the case. Most of the people spending time online are kids. That's just a fact. That's been a fact since the beginning. So the fact that you claim you didn't know that or try and claim ignorance, how could I believe you? How could anyone believe you?
I wish I'd listened more when all of it happened. I was so caught up in the things that weren't true that were being said about me that I feel like I wasn't listening to the things that were true and the things that I did make mistakes doing and take responsibility for those things. Instead, I was like, well, they're saying all these other things about me that are lies, and that's not true. And I was angry about those things. And I wish that I had just paused and listened for a second.
A lot of this podcast seems to be Colleen just going, I wish I did this. I should have done that. I wish I didn't kill that man. I should have not assaulted that innocent woman. Just because you have the presence of mind to say that you shouldn't have done something or wish you shouldn't have done something else. Brother, you are in the present. You still have not made an apology or anything remotely close to a real apology in 2 fucking years. And you've posted on your second channel like nothing has ever happened. You don't need to wish. You can literally make it happen. Sit down, make an apology, make it an hour long, make it 2 hours long. Don't put ads on it. Clarify everything. Take accountability. There you go. Obviously, you're still gonna get hate for it. Obviously, even if you are in the right, people are still going to hate you. But at least you can rest assured that you took accountability and people will actually have an inkling of respect for you for actually coming forward and taking accountability and moving on.
Yes. I mean, I should have listened to what people were saying, and I should have...
I think people want an apology. I think people want for you to acknowledge the things that happened on stage. I hope that you give that to them.
I agree with you. I think that they do want an apology, and I am sorry.
Oh my God, what an apology. She took my advice, and in record time, she did it. The greatest apology ever of all time on YouTube. I am sorry. Oh, it's all better. I can feel the wounds closing up already. Holy fuck.
And here's the thing, is when you mess up and when you make a mistake and do something wrong, sometimes you got to keep apologizing for it. And that's what I should have done. Like, and people keep saying it's an apology song. I didn't apologize in that thing.
You did not.
I did not.
You know what?
There
You are
was
correct.
no
You did not
sorry
apologize.
in that.
You did not. I was actually laughing. So then that was some crazy penmanship.
Again, I just think it's so weird. The host just laughing past the very serious allegations that came forward. It's just a very weird dynamic for me. I don't know. But going back to what Colleen said, sometimes you got to keep apologizing for it. I really don't think that's the case. Like I said already, I think she could make a video taking accountability for everything she's ever done, clearing the air, starting back from square one, and then you move on. People move on, the internet moves on, so don't let that be the reason you don't apologize and make a video addressing everything. And make one that doesn't involve a fucking Broadway musical production, please.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Because because you want to fix it. You can't fix it. And that's the worst. Like, I wanted to fix it so bad, and there was no fixing it. There was nothing I could do to fix it. And that was so awful. That was because not only did I not address anything that I wanted to address, not only did I not, dispute the lies that I wanted to dispute, and I just made things worse. It was so bad.
Yes, it was bad. But again, you can't act like you can't do anything now. You're acting like you're a victim of some kind, brother. You can set it straight. It's not that hard. Just do it. Just fucking do it. Listen to Nike. Just fucking do it.
There were moments in your live shows where there were children brought up on stage and you were, as showbiz says, going for the funny in a lot of moments. However, looking back at moments, there is another person on the internet who is saying that when she went up on stage for your live show, she was a part of the yoga challenge section of your show. And it made them feel gross. Later in life, they were essayed, and when they look back at that moment with you, they feel similar feelings. Can you dive a little bit deeper into what happened at the yoga challenge?
It was a challenge on YouTube for a while for people to try out different yoga poses. Like, couples would do it together, because if you're not experienced in yoga, it's difficult to do. And so, since I'm a YouTuber on my live shows, sometimes I would do challenges from YouTube. So I did that challenge, and I'd have people come up on stage, and we would try out different yoga poses that popped up on the screen. And obviously we could never do them, and I would be, flailing about as Miranda. And there was one pose where there are two people and both legs are spread open, you're holding each other's legs. And I genuinely never thought of it as a sexual or inappropriate thing. To me, the joke was that when the legs were open to do the pose, the fart sound effect came on screen. So it was like, once the legs opened up, there was a fart sound. And to me, that was all I thought that joke was. I never knew that was something that would make someone feel uncomfortable and trigger emotions and feelings.
As she kind of self-reports in this clip, because she literally mentions that couples were doing the yoga challenge. Couples that are okay with touching each other, obviously. So I think it's very strange that she looked at that and immediately thought, oh yes, I'm gonna invite a kid on stage and we're gonna do yoga together. That'll be real funny. If you were a young adult, okay, I would give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you are fucking brain dead and you don't know any better. But you are literally almost a middle-aged woman at this point. How does that not compute and seem remotely weird to you? Now, the next clip is very strange because the podcast host almost seemed to take her side and try and justify what Colleen was doing. It is so fucking bizarre. I felt like I was on an acid trip watching this shit, man.
Time is interesting. Time is really interesting because if you go back in time for entertainment, there's been many a comedian, many a entertainer that has done things in their early career that when they look back on, they wish they didn't because culture changes. While people were laughing with you and quote unquote at you because of the character, it must feel so like two-faced for you, for all these people who were laughing with you, and then all of a sudden
have them turn against you.
Yup, it was very two-faced for people to turn against her for grooming children and being weird and inappropriate with them. So the next clip is a pretty wild one, actually, and I gotta explain it because they kind of have like these 1,000-yard stare flashbacks and a lot of sidetracks. So this next clip is where she kind of goes into depth about the whole bit where she has a bag of Cheetos in her pants, and the clip where she leans over and asks the very obviously like 10-year-old boy on stage, hey, you want a Cheeto? And obviously he reaches into her pants and picks out a Cheeto and eats it. Very weird fucking shit.
Could you explain it, please?
Well, I mean, what a crazy thing to hear, that there's a woman on stage and there's a young person taking food out of her pants and eating it on stage. I mean, that's crazy. A lot of the joke with Miranda was that I would say and do things that were inappropriate or had some sort of sexual innuendo to them or something like that, and it went over the character's head. Like, Miranda was not aware that she was saying something that could be taken the wrong way. That was a lot of the jokes that I did as the character.
So yeah, she kind of says it right there too, that she was sneaking a lot of sexual innuendos into her shows and stuff like that. She also says at some point in the episode that her show was not rated at all at the beginning, but then she eventually made the rating PG-13. Still sneaking sexual innuendos and jokes into a show obviously where children are gonna be. Very fucking strange behavior. And then the last clip I got for you guys today is when she mentions and talks about how she sent underwear to an underage fan, which there's no excuse for that. That is crossing so many goddamn boundaries. You might as well be crossing the DMZ between North and South Korea at that point. Think about it in this frame. Could you even imagine the backlash and everything that would come from it if Colleen was a man sending underwear to an underage girl? Could you fucking imagine?
I thought it was like a silly inside joke with the whole fandom. It was all very public, and I thought it was a silly thing, and it was so stupid.
It's also difficult, I think, in that specific situation when you feel like you're being given permission, if you will, because everyone is saying kind of the same thing. Everyone seems in on the joke. Everyone seems to understand it. Everyone is saying, send it, send it. And then you have this person not dropping it after that, but continuing the conversation weeks after this has happened. I can see where you don't think about potential negative consequence because in that moment it feels pure.
And you're not sending it in a sexual manner.
No.
So yeah, that's basically the highlights of the podcast for you. I was flabbergasted that they looked over this, edited it, recorded it, all that stuff, and they still posted it out to the public. Apparently, I don't know if this is true because I didn't see the video yet, but apparently the original title was Colleen's Real Apology or something similar to that. I just thought it was a very poorly done podcast episode. It was clear that the host hadn't really done that much research on the situation, or Colleen herself. And Colleen, obviously being the person that she is, she's not going to take accountability. She's not going to apologize. She's going to look at this as kind of her big apology, and she's going to try and move on and keep making videos on her second channel like she has been since the beginning of all of this controversy. And she gets like 8 to 40,000 views per video on that channel, so she'll be fine. There's no need to worry there. And if you look in the comments as well, there's a big fan base supporting her. Obviously, her comments are filtered and all that, but anyway, I wanted to talk about this podcast episode because I, like I said, was shocked, to say the least. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.